Thinking about retiring to the Philippines? Before you sign a lease and wire that deposit, you need to watch this video. But what you need to be aware will have a huge impact on your quality of life. So keep that in mind if you have a condo unit that faces the pool and is on a lower level. So what is the real cost of living in a condominium here in the Philippines? Air conditioning is a very important thing to consider in your unit. Today we're doing a real condo tour, not the online nice parts that you see in all the other videos. Today I'm going to show you the reality of what it's like to live in a condo here in the Philippines. Because what looks good online, in reality, could cost you a lot of money and stress. First thing that retirees overlook is the building. What matters the most is not the unit, it's actually the condo complex itself. If the elevator fails often due to brownouts and you're a 65-year-old who lives on the 28th floor, well, that's a problem. One of the things you really need to focus on when selecting a condominium complex is, do the elevators go down often? Does the generator power the AC or just the lights? In Manila, generator backup usually powers lights and outlets only, not always your AC, and that matters during brownouts. Condominiums listings show the inside, but retirees live outside. Checking the walking distance to grocery stores, pharmacies, grab pickup location, and most importantly, knowing the noise level will make a significant impact on your lifestyle. If you can't walk to your basic necessities, you'll be relying on a grab every day. And well, that adds up quickly. Traffic can impact your quality of life more than you know. Because it's not only all of the traffic that you have to fight through to do your daily living, but it's also the noise that comes along with it. So if you happen to have a unit on a lower floor, this noise level will be a constant. So choosing a higher level unit can keep you away from the noise to some degree. So what looks like a great condominium from the outside, but what you need to be aware of is what's next door. What's across the street? Walkability is a huge factor in everything that you do in Manila or in any of the major cities in the Philippines. So having a lack of sidewalks to get you to your grocery or jeepney or bus or taxi line, pharmacies, will have a huge impact on your quality of life. Security is always a nice feature for any condominium complex. Knowing that your guests and you will be safe inside the property, especially if you have a vehicle, is a nice plus. Parking garages can often come with an extra price tag, but you'll have little choice in your condominium unless you can find off-street parking somewhere that you can walk to. In the evenings or on the weekends, it can get quite rowdy out here with children and young adults having a good time. So keep that in mind if you have a condo unit that faces the pool and is on a lower level. A lot of condominium complexes have their own little convenience stores right inside the complex, so you never have to leave the security of the complex itself to get the necessities you may have run out of. Often there are also laundry facilities, and there's always a main office if you need to speak to somebody about a maintenance issue. Many condominium complexes have outdoor picnic areas and even barbecues. So if you do want to grill your burgers and steaks, they make that convenient. Play areas for children are always a nice plus if you happen to have kids or grandkids that may be in your life or your Filipina's life. Parking garages are always a nice plus. You go straight from your car or your motorcycle right onto the elevator. No need to carry those groceries and shopping bags. Most elevators in the Philippines are not air conditioned. First impressions, layouts of your unit are more important than the size itself. Checking the ceiling height, natural light, and ventilation is always a concern. Here in this 3-bedroom, 2-bath condominium, we have windows on 3 of the 4 sides of the condominium. The ceiling height is a good 9 feet. Air conditioning is a very important thing to consider in your unit. There's 2 main types of air conditioning. You have your window style unit and your splits. The difference really is not whether you have a split or a window unit. The difference is whether if it has an inverter or it doesn't. Air cons with inverters use a lot less electricity than those without. Having a balcony is always a nice plus. Gives you a nice space to sit down and have your morning coffee, relax and take in the view. Water pressure in the Philippines, especially in high-rise condominiums, can be hit or miss. So always check to make sure you have adequate water pressure. Hot water heaters are not a standard issue in units in the Philippines. So make sure that you have hot water in at least one of your CRs. Other things to check for are mold and whether you have adequate ventilation with a ceiling fan. Bedrooms often don't come with built-in closets, so make sure that you have adequate storage so you have enough room for all your hanging clothes and drawers for those that do not need to be hung. Now, bedroom sizes are small no matter where you are in the Philippines. So this, as an example, is a double bed. If I were to put a king bed in here, there would be no room to open that bathroom door. Queen might be able to squeeze in here, but double beds are more the norm in these smaller unit condos. Spare bedrooms are always nice to have. This is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, or 2-bath unit, so you have what I call our guest room here. It has its own aircon as well. But we normally, to save on our electricity bill, don't use this room often, so we turn everything off and shut the door. Now our third bedroom, we use it as our laundry room. So we hang our drying clothes in here, and we use the air con from this unit, or this bedroom, to help cool the rest of the condominium. So that's one thing you definitely want to check, is that there are air cons in all of the main rooms. This one does not have an air con in the living room, so we use this fan to help push the air out of that bedroom and down the hallway to the living room, and it works quite well. And we have a washer machine right here. And the hallway CR. Nothing fancy, but it has a hot water heater as well. And then out this balcony, as soon as you open the door, you can hear it. There's construction. So right over here, just over Lorna's shoulder, down in the ground, they are building another condominium complex, tower of some sort, right over there. It just started literally the month we moved in. Now, they only work during the day, which is a plus so far. But with the door shut, you don't hardly hear it at all. It's nice when they include a flat screen TV. Now, kitchens, nothing fancy about this one. When you're looking at your appliances, you want to make sure that they're somewhat new and efficient. Like this Samsung refrigerator is pretty high efficiency. I don't know the exact specs on it, but it's an inverter model, and that definitely helps with the electric bill. Another thing to consider when comparing units is whether they have a gas stove or an induction cooktop. Now, if you have an induction cooktop, you're going to use more electricity, and when the power goes out, you don't have any cooking. With a gas stove, you have the same problem when the gas runs out, and there's no gauge on the tank, so you're just going to have to periodically lift up the tank and feel how heavy it is. It's just a 20-gallon or 20-pound propane tank like you would find in a barbecue grill in the US. Oftentimes here in the Philippines, it's not recommended that you drink tap water. It's okay to shower and clean dishes with it and laundry, but you want to make sure you have some sort of clean water source. Here at this condominium complex, we get 8 5-gallon fill-ups a month included with the condo. And no condominium would be complete without a rice cooker. So what is the real cost of living in a condominium here in the Philippines? Well, you got your actual property costs. Most expats overlook some of the minor details of what their monthly rent and living costs will actually incur. So in this case, I'm just going to use even whole numbers just to describe the cost of this condominium that we've rented. It's $500 a month for the rent. We pay somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 to, I'm guessing, up to about $250 a month for electricity. So right now it's February. We went through the winter months. It's probably the best time of the year for air con. It's only going to get much hotter in March, April, and May, and then the wet season kicks in, and it's still very hot, but I don't know if the air conditioning will double in price when it gets much hotter. Right now it's averaging around 30, 31 Celsius, and I've been told by Lorna that it can reach all the way up into the mid-30s, even up to close to 40. Water is super cheap. I'm talking about the tap water. Our 2 months that we've been here, our bills have been around $5–6. But you want to probably budget somewhere maybe around $10–15. Just depends on, that's probably a good high mark to go for. Internet costs, here we pay $26 a month with Converge. They're about the same with PLDT, but they have higher speed packages if you do want to pay for more, and those will range up close to $50 a month. If you have your own Filipina, you don't have to worry about cleaning. But if you want to hire a cleaning service, you can expect somewhere between $40 and $80 a month, depending on how often you want to have your unit cleaned. Now let's talk about leasing and contracts. Here in the Philippines, a 1 month advance and 2 months deposit seems to be the norm. I would try to get more advance payment and less deposit. And the reason why is that if you do damage anything in the condominium, or they claim that you do upon your moving out, legally they can only hold the deposit. So the smaller your deposit and more advanced rent that you pay is a better situation for you. Obviously, ideally, you'd only want to pay 1 month's advance and 1 month's deposit. 6 months versus 12 months. We went with a 6-month lease, but it had an option to go month to month with the same price out to 12 months. Now, we can also cancel it with 30-day notice at any time prior to that 6-month period. So never wire money without seeing the unit in person yourself. Short-term leases first, long-term leases last. If you're over 50, here are questions you must ask yourself. How far away from a hospital is too far? For us, here at this condominium, we're only about 1 kilometer down the street from an emergency room hospital. Now, with traffic and the ambulance response times, that could still take a half hour or more. So be prepared, but it's always nice to know how close that hospital is. Can I manage the stairs if the elevator fails? Now, we're on the 6th floor of this condominium building, and oftentimes I don't even take the elevator, but if you're on the 28th floor or higher, Are you going to make that climb when the power goes out? Is your neighborhood safe at night? This is another consideration. You cannot find this information online. You need to lay eyes on the property. Come in, stay in an Airbnb for a few days while you're searching for a long-term place, and then check it out in the nighttime. Come in around 9, 10, 11 o'clock, something like that, and see how quiet, how noisy. Is there a karaoke bar across the street? Are there roosters nesting right outside your bedroom window? These things won't be readily noticeable during the daytime, but at night, you'll thank me. Will you feel isolated living in this condominium complex? Are there things to do nearby? Can you walk to amenities like grocery stores, pharmacies, a mall? Or are they a short jeepney ride or taxi or grab away? If I were moving to the Philippines, again at age 50 plus, this is what I would prioritize. Walkability. I'd want to be able to walk to a lot of amenities. I'd like to be able to walk to the mall, to the park, to a grocery store, to a pharmacy. Hospital access is something that, let's face it, men and women at our age, we have concerns about, our health. So being too far away from a hospital can be a life-threatening decision. Reliable elevators. Well, here in Manila, brownouts happen every so often, and I've heard from other expats and other YouTube videos that other cities can have a lot of brownouts. So is a generator in your condominium complex a high priority for you? Can you live without aircon for 24 hours? Now, with good ventilation in this type of a unit, we could easily get a cross breeze through these windows and doors. Again, moderate floor height. You don't want to be too low. First floor, second floor, third floor were no-goes for me when I was choosing my condo. I didn't want to hear the street. I didn't want to hear the kids swimming in the swimming pool. I wanted to be above the rooster noise. But I also didn't want to be in a super high rise either. So we went with a mid-level condominium, and we're on the 6 out of 7 floors. Don't ever worry about your neighbors making noises in the condominium buildings. They're solid concrete walls. You can't hear them walk or slam their feet or talking through the walls. Occasionally you hear a door slam, but it's pretty quiet in these condominiums. Set yourself a realistic electricity budget. Don't come here thinking, oh, it's going to be cheaper than what I pay in the United States. Guess what? Electricity rates here are pretty on par with the US unless you live in one of those high electricity states like California. So you're deciding to move to the Philippines, but you're not sure how to find a rental unit. You don't know what city you want to live in potentially. Well, I recommend 3 different sites to help choose or find the next rental for you here in the Philippines. Obviously, you've heard Facebook. Well, on Facebook Marketplace, you can set the city location that you want to search with a radius of 1 kilometer, 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, and it'll search for rentals if you put in the search term for rent for that city. You can even put in things like 2-bedroom condo, but I would keep it very broad and pull in everything and then sort it out yourself as far as, because keywords may not match and that you may miss an important unit. So keep it broad, do the legwork and search through it, and you'll find potentially your dream condominium or townhouse or house here in the Philippines. Another great site, and I'll put these up here so you can read them. Another one that you may want to try out is .property.com.ph. Now that's a search engine as well. That one is very easy to dial into cities, prices, number of bedrooms. It's pretty powerful, and you'll find there's lots of listings in there as well. Now I didn't personally use that one, so I don't know if the listings are stale or already rented, but it does have a large selection to choose from, and it gives you a better idea of what prices are than in Facebook Marketplace, for instance. A lot of times they'll put crazy prices on there, like $1 or $100, and you don't really know what it's renting for, or that they might have it for rent and really they're trying to sell it, or vice versa. So just bear that in mind with Facebook. But try .property.com.ph. Another rental search engine that just came online is tplrentals.com. That's from That Filipino Life blogger Michael. He developed this website. It's free to join. I believe you can browse and look at units without having to register, but if you want to contact any of the landlords, you must register, and again, it's free to register, and it's just an email address to do so. So those are my recommendations on how to search and find your Philippine condominium. If you're planning to retire to the Philippines or stay long term, the choice of what condo you pick may greatly impact your experience living here.
Subscribe to Scot Free Philippines,
because we talk about the things nobody else warns you about. Drop a comment, hit that like button, and let me ask the question, where would you like to live? See you next time.